Hi guys, welcome to this channel, and today we are going to learn another advanced topic of CSS, and that is backgrounds. We learned about backgrounds earlier in CSS course as well, but this background topic is a bit different because this is advanced CSS background and it contains some advanced properties, some advanced features of using backgrounds in CSS. So let's get started into it. So in CSS, it allows us to use multiple backgrounds for the same element as well. So it is done by using background image property, the same property, but the backgrounds, multiple backgrounds are separated by comma between them. So when we separate the backgrounds with comma, the backgrounds which come first are the backgrounds which would come to the user before, because the backgrounds of an element, the multiple backgrounds are stacked one above another. So the one that would be the first one, that would be the most front one, and the background that would be listed in the last would be the one that would be in the last of the stack below all the other backgrounds. So this is an example by which you would get better understanding of that concept. So in this example we have used two images. The first image is of flowers, and the second image of that background, paper background. So as the first image is this flower, so the first image would be on top, whereas the second image is paper, and so the back image would be that paper image. So we are separating both of these images paths by using comma, and all the other properties are being separated by using comma as well. So let's actually get into our IDE and see their practical example. So this is our IDE, and this is our basic file of HTML that we are going to use for examples today. This is for lesson number 34, and you would be able to get all the study materials and files inside the description. The links would be there. So inside body, first let me create a div, and inside div let me write some text, and then I would style this div and give it the background image, two background images. The first one I have saved them inside our assets folder, and the flowers one because we want it to be in front, and the other one is the is also inside the assets folder, and its name is back image. And for background repeat property, I am not going to repeat the flowers image, and the other image would repeat, whereas the background one. So for background position, the first image, the flower one, would be on the right bottom, and the second image, which is the back image, would be on top left. So I have to separate it with comma actually. So as you can see, this is our image and the background is not visible completely. So let's give it a bit of different height, suppose 300 pixels. So right here, as you can see, this is the flowers background and this is the paper background. So if I change their orders, then this flowers background would go behind this paper's background. So after this, using multiple backgrounds also has a shorthand. So this shorthand actually is used the same way. First, in this background we write all the properties and values for the first background, like we would give its path and then the repeat value and then its position. Then we would use comma and give the values for the other one, assets back image, and for its we don't want it, we actually want it to repeat, whereas this one was no repeat, and its position would be top left. So this property is not background color, it's only background. So right here, as you can see, it gives us the same result. So after this comes the property background size. Background size actually allows us to specify the background of the image. It can be specified in different units like length, which could be in pixels, rem, etc., and then percentage, and by using other two keywords which are contain and cover. So we would learn about each keyword in a minute. So this is an example giving the width and height to that image using pixels. So let us take an example of that as well. So I am commenting it so that you may use it as a reference when you would get this file. So for background, I am going to use that flower image, and I am going to make it no repeat. And for the background size, I am going to give it the background size of 100 pixels and 50 pixels. 100 pixels are for width and 50 pixels are for height. So right here, as you can see, this image, this background image is having that width and that height. After that, the contain keyword inside that background size property of CSS. This contain keyword scales the background image to be as large as possible, but for the sake of aspect ratio, it just keeps the height and width both in the same aspect ratio as the original image was in. So if even in keeping those aspect ratios the image exceeds the element, then it would just cut the image that is outside that element. So let us see its example right here. So for this background size, I would just change it to contain. So you can see the difference. It has just scaled it to the height. Its height is just to the 100% of the element, whereas its width is just as much enough to keep its aspect ratio. Whereas the second background keyword that we use is cover. So this cover element just scales the image in such a way that it covers the whole of the element. In that contain value, the image could just leave some parts of the background, whereas in cover keyword, all the parts of the element would be covered, whereas the excess image would be cut out. So let us use that cover keyword, and you can see the whole of the width and height, whole of the area of this div is being covered by this image, but the image is exceeding the background, so that image was cut off. After this comes, if we want our whole page, whole view to get a background, so we can do so as well. And we don't even want to scroll it with the page, and we want to center it into the page, and we also want it to cover the complete page, complete view of our page. So for doing so, I have written an HTML for style. So in HTML tag, actually HTML tag has a height of at least the browser window, which is actually our view. So if we want an image to be for whole of the view for us, so we would use this HTML tag to style it. For using this example, let us go to our IDE. So let us style this HTML tag and give it that background of this background, and give it the no repeat, so we don't want to repeat it, and then make it to the center and fixed so that it may not scroll it. So after that, let us give it the background size of cover actually, so that it may cover whole of the element. So right here, as you can see, this image is covering whole of the view of our page, and if there is a content that just exceeds this view, then the background would not scroll. So after that comes the background origin property. So background origin property specifies where the background image would be positioned inside our element. So it has different values, for example box, border box, padding box and content box. So for this border box, the background of the image would start from the outer corner of the border, whereas for this padding box, the background would start from the outer side of the padding, and for the content box, the background image would start from the outside of our content. So right inside this style, if I give it the padding of 30 pixels for example, using it as an example, and the border of 20 pixel solid black, and for this cover image, that is this flower image, let us replace with that, and let us for this example remove it so that you may see the background clearly. And for this flower image, rather than this flower image, I would use that back image and give it no repeat. And for the background origin, let us give it first of all the border box, and remove this background size as well, so that we don't want it to be covering the whole element. So right, as you can see, our background has just started from the corner of that border actually. So if I replace this with padding, which means padding box, now it would start from the corners of our padding, as you can see. And if I give content here, then it would start from out. And if I give this content box as a value to this background origin, then you can see the background starts from this contents corner. So this was it for this video. I hope you liked the video. Thank you for watching the video. Goodbye.